After a couple of months of brutal cold up here in the Northwest, it's finally time to get out of town and head south down to the NAMM Show in Anaheim, California, and finally get a bit of warmer weather. Well, we left and it was about 18 degrees, and here in sunny Anaheim, it's about 60. Drop dead gorgeous, palm trees, sunshine. You gotta love LA in the wintertime. It's just awesome. After COVID, the NAMM Show took a brief hiatus and then slowly came back to life. And it's great to see the show back up to capacity, as it was swamped everywhere I went. After a brief stop in the percussion halls to check out the new drum hardware, it was time to check out all the new drum and synth controllers this year. And our first stop was to head over to the Akai booth. And there we got to spend some time with the brand new MPC XL. And this thing is an engineering marvel. 4 times the processing power of previous controllers with 16 audio tracks, 32 instances of plug-in instruments, 256 voices, and all of this with advanced stem separation, sequencing, time stretching, resampling, and so much more. This thing was an absolute production beast.
Yeah, so you can assign anything you want to the X, Y, and the pressure sensitivity. So if I had drums, I could make it so my filter cutoff opens up while I drag my finger. So while I'm playing like that, it's going to close the filter and open up the filter. I can do it with pitch, I can do it with modulation, I can pretty much do it with whatever I want. And you could assign it just for this upper corner. So if I had a reverb, I could have a snare and then just hit the upper corner and then it's all the reverb. But anywhere else, there's no reverb. Another thing we did too is if we come back into the track edit and go into samples, on each pad you can have up to 4 samples, and you can quickly assign it to whatever corner. So if I want this sample only to play in the upper right, I just have that one highlighted. Now that sample will only play, but if we play anywhere else, you see there's no signal coming through. It's only on the upper right.
Up next, it was time to head over to the Roland booth, where they had this amazing display of historic drum machines dating all the way back to the CR78 and the TR808. They had the TR606, the 909, the 727, and even featured the Roland R8 and S770 digital samplers that I had in my touring rack, and it instantly took me back to the days of working in Vegas and being on the road full time. And now you can get that classic sound of Phil Collins, Hollow Notes, and more with the Roland Cloud release of their CR78 software rhythm composer. It features an analog circuit behavior modeling of the 1978 classic, and it's available in VST AAU or AAX plugins. And Roland says if you act fast, you can get a lifetime key for only $49 until February 28. Next, it was time to check out the brand new TR1000, and what makes it unique are the 16 analog electronic circuits replicated from the original 808 and 908 built into the TR1000. Let me say that again. These aren't just sounds sampled from that era. This is the original electronic circuitry, the analog circuitry from those machines. Tons of original kits from both, combined with the ACB modeling engine, PCM sampling, and a virtual FM analog engine for even more classic and cutting-edge sounds. There's 46 gig of onboard storage for your sample memory, over 2,000 onboard sounds, crazy external routing options, outputs for both audio and trigger CV signals, cutting-edge sampling, sequencing, layering, slicing, and a massive onboard step sequencer with multiple velocities, as well as a multi-channel audio interface, really do make this thing a production monster. One of the things that surprises me the most about the show this year is how much AI has influenced the industry as a whole. And it's more than just online services. It's working its way into so many pro audio and recording studio applications, plugins. A good example of this was over at the Nuetone booth. They had a pedal that allowed you to load your own AI models and then blend between the guitar tone and the model itself, allowing for a huge range of guitar expressions. Next, it was time to check out all the latest DJ controllers, so we're headed over to the Pioneer booth, which has been rebranded as Alpha Theta. This place was an absolute madhouse as they were showing off the DJM-10's little brother, the brand new DJM version 5 mixer. That had just been released a couple days ago with 3 channels of send and return effects and filters on each channel, as well as the brand new RMX Ignite. This appears to be the successor to the RMX 1000 performance effects systems, with 6 lever effects, sample trigger pad playback, instant sample roll, 6 isolated effects, a 2.8-inch multicolor screen, digital sends and returns, as well as the ability to add pitch, filter, and effects colors to your sample on the fly. And as always, there was no shortage of controller customization options in every possible size, shape, and variety, as well as tons of new gear, skins, and demos to check out. Next, it was off to Behringer to spend some time with their incredible vintage drum machine clones, like their Grind Series semi-modular hybrid synth with 14 synth engines, 10 percussion noise engines, and a 32-step sequencer arpeggiator, as well as newer models, like their Oberheim DMX copy, the BMX. This thing was really impressive. 24 velocity-sensitive drum pads, sample recording, 64-step sequencer, wave designer, dual mode filters, and period-accurate 8 and 12-bit sampling, as well as their hybrid sampling drum machine clone of the original Linn drum, the LM drum machine, which sounded gritty and huge and full and honestly as good as my original. And the upcoming desktop synth, the JT2, which looks to replicate a single voice from the Roland Jupiter 8 series of synths, and it definitely had that classic Jupiter 8 sound. But this year, all eyes were on the brand new Roland Juno 60 clone, the JN80, originally titled the Neptune 80, but changed for the show release. My Juno 60 was one of the first true workhorse synths I had on the road with me full time, and this was a spectacular recreation with all the grit and punch that I remember. It looked great, it sounded great, was a blast to play, and this immediately took me back. The Behringer booth was really on fire this year with so many different impressive product releases like this one. Though not technically in the beat creation category, the release of the new Flow 4V field recorder and mixer was just too impressive to pass up, as it offered an astounding 142 dB of dynamic range preamps with dual input converters that virtually eliminate clipping during live recording sessions, as well as showing off their still relatively new Behringer compact wing. This has way more connectivity than the original full-size wing does in a much more compact package, and this was so impressive that it may very well be our new digital routing mixer here in the studio sometime in the not too distant future.